Good evening, everybody, and welcome to my latest experimentation for Mono Green Tron in Modern. Now, somebody said something in my Discord, plug for the Discord, you should totally hop into it if you're not there yet. Somebody mentioned to me that some people were getting disgruntled about how many sideboard slots the Wishboard takes up for Karn Great Creator, and really, other than Coding, Coding, Bridge, Trinisphere, and Titan. Those are the 4 cards. I barely ever wish for anything else. Like, Spyglass is good, it can win you games, and get you out of some sticky situations. But I've wished for it maybe once out of the last, 10 Tron leagues I've played, or something like that. And same with Ballista, I've only wished for it, one time. And what that tells me is people are, over-dedicating slots in the Wishboard for Tron. And it got me thinking. I've taken out Grafdigger's Cage. And I'm testing not running it. And running the 4th Veil of Summer in the slot. Because I really like how Veil of Summer has been playing for me against a lot of the more control-y decks that just try to, infinite counterspell you. And I dropped 1 Oblivion Stone out of the main in favor of a 2nd Relic of Progenitus. My thought process here is, between Relics and Ugin, we should be fine against something like Dredge. And we're a little softer to things like Ancient Grudge, but we'll see how this does. I've got a feeling this is going to work. So, without any further rambling, let's take this into a Modern League, shall we? Alright, round 1, here we go. Alright, we'll play first. We definitely got better hands of 6. This is a better hand of 6. I'll keep it, and I'm gonna drop Ulamog. So, Power Plant Map. Pass the turn. Opponent starts Scalding Tarn. Draw Urza's Tower, so we'll just go ahead and crack and get mine. Pass the turn. Opponent gets a Raugrin Triome, so this looks like the Uro deck. Snow-covered Mountain for the opponent. Cleansing Wildfire for a tower. So this actually would appear to be the control deck. The control deck that plays like Flagstones of Trocaire, the Jeskai one. So we're going to play a Maze Mind Tome and Scry. Wormcoil to the bottom. Ancient Stirrings. Let's go looking for a tower. Unfortunately, no tower. I'll take Map because we can play it and crack it for a tower. Rest can go to the bottom any order. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Teferi Time Raveler, bounces Maze Mind Tome. We untap and draw Karn. So, play Map. Crack Map for tower. Play tower. Play Sphere. Crack it for green. I think I want the Maze Mind Tome more than I want to cast this Ancient Stirrings. Go ahead and Scry. Forest to the bottom. Pass the turn. And they are running Flagstones, I knew it! Opponent is going to Snapcaster Mage, Cleansing Wildfire, hitting our tower. Get a Forest. They tick up to Fairy. We untap. We draw a map. Alright. Ancient Stirrings first. Let's see if we can hit tower. No tower, but we do get Karn liberated, which I'm fine with. Scry now, I guess. We could have scryed before doing any of this, but... Play map. Crack map. Get a tower. And... I kind of want to play Urza's Mine, just to force them to Cleansing Wildfire a different land if they've got it. Pass the turn. One plays a Flooded Strand, ticks up to Fairy. Fetches with Flooded Strand. They're gonna get... They might even just Cryptic Bounce. That would be interesting. Steam Vents untapped. Okay, they play Big Teferi. They uptick, so they're gonna draw. They hit us for 2. Okay. They untap Triome and Steam Vents. We untap. Draw Relic. Instant speed cleansing wildfire. So we'll go ahead and scry. I'm glad I didn't play the tower. Oh, we're gonna draw a card, I mean. Oh, we drew our last tower. Get a forest. So play tower, play relic. Crack relic to draw. We get a star. So play star. Crack it for green. Play sphere. Pass the turn. We're really just like power plant Ulamog away from winning. Our opponent's drawing a bunch of cards though, which makes it really hard to resolve stuff. I imagine triple wildfire is probably enough to keep us from winning. Opponent hardcasts Shark Typhoon. Hits us for 2, untaps 2 lands. Okay, we untap. Scry. Gain 4 life. Sphere to the bottom. Draw Worm Coil. Crack star for green. There's the power plant. Play power plant. So we have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 mana. So attempt to resolve Karn. Opponent remands Big Karn. Gets a 2/2 Shark. Play Small Karn. Wish. And let's get, I guess, Sundering Titan. Our problem is now our opponent is going to have too many counter spells and have too fast of a clock. We basically need to somehow resolve an Ugin to reclaim the board here. Opponent upticks to Fairy to 7. Goes to combat. Attacks Karn down. 2 mana, Lightning Helix is our face. Basically just using their mana and cards out of hand, so they don't have to discard as much. They put Lightning Helix on top. Interesting. They choose not to. And they untap their mana. We untap and draw Karn Liberated. So, attempt to resolve Karn. Cryptic, make a 4/4 counter draw. Play a tower. And I guess we try and resolve Sundering Titan? I'm not even sure that really helps that much. Honestly, they probably let this resolve because they're going to have like a Path to Exile or something they haven't used. Alright, Sundering Titan enters. Because like even if I take them off of all of their mana, take Triome, Hollowed Fountain, Steam Vents, and a Forest. Even if their like final act here is to just Path Sundering Titan, they probably are going to have like Force and Negation stuff. We're probably just going to lose 2 attackers in the air here. They play a Scalding Tarn. Cleansing Wildfire, our power plant. Get our last forest. We have to top deck power plant to do anything this turn. When it ticks up to Fairy to 8, draws an extra card. Goes to combat. Attacks with the Flyers, sure. Yeah, there's no way for us to draw a last Tron piece and Ugin, and we don't have enough mana to hardcast Ugin. When it discards to hand size, Path to Exile, we draw Sylvan Scrying. Well, Sylvan Scrying. We get Power Plant. Play Power Plant. Yeah, I'd need a what is it called? The 8 mana Oblivion Stone. I would need an Oblivion Stone, I think, to even have a chance here. This Karn down tick does not do it. Yeah, alright. Opponent got us. The good news is we have 4 Veil of Summer we can bring in this matchup. I think, let me check the deck lists here. They do not seem to play anything that Wilt would hit out of the sideboard that we need to worry about. Seems like mainly we need to worry about their counter spells. Okay, in that case, we're going to drop Worm Coil because it lines up a little bit worse than Thragtusk. And I think I want Oblivion Stone in the side. I think if I'm going to play Oblivion Stone, I gotta wish for it. Try it like this. We'll play first. Star, Stirrings, Veil, Ugin. Gonna need a little bit better of a hand than that. Same here. We're going to 5. Mind Tower Power. Here we go. I gotta put back Ulamog and I think Ancient Stirrings. Our opponent mulliganed to 4. So they may have just mulliganed to Cleansing Wildfire. We'll see. Play Expedition map. Pass the turn. Opponent plays Mystic Sanctuary tapped for their first land. Players is mine. Pass the turn. If my opponent has Cleansing Wildfire, they have a 50-50 chance of getting it right. Flagstones of Trocaire. This tells me my opponent has like a Dovin's Veto or a Remand. Or a Tail's End. Alright. Tower off the top. Let's go. Ancient Stirrings. So we'll attempt an Ancient Stirrings here. Opponent pitches Snapcaster Mage to Force of Negation. Alright. Opponent has 1 card in hand, 2 lands on board. Excellent position for a control player. They drew another land, which is kind of the opposite of what we want. We're going to play another Urza's Mine, pass the turn. Now if we top deck a tower, we can at least play around Mana Leak. Okay, Ancient Stirrings. Play Expedition map. Activate Expedition map. Another Tail's End. Unbelievable. Alright. Opponent is out of cards. They fetch up a Triome. They play Scalding Tarn. They can now Mystic Sanctuary if they'd like. Well, if we ever get that tower... Opponent cracks Scalding Tarn for Mystic Sanctuary. They're going to put Tail's End on top of their deck. So that means they will be able to counter the first Karn Liberated we attempt to play. Play a Forest. Pass the turn. Just need that tower. Opponent gets a Scalding Tarn. We untap and draw Chromatic Sphere. Play Sphere. Crack it for green. Play a map. They're just going to counter this. But we're going to do it. Opponent Tail's Ends. Sure. Opponent cracks a Scalding Tarn for a Steam Vents. They may not have any Mystic Sanctuaries left, or they may realize that repeatedly buying back a 2-mana counter instead of their regular draw is not going to win them the game. We get a Veil of Summer, which is very promising. We just need to get that tower. Opponent plays a land. We draw Sylvan Scrying. Here we go. Sylvan Scrying. Urza's Tower. Karn Liberated. Resolves. Uptick on their last card in hand. I suspect it's a burn spell from the way that they're playing. It was a mountain. Alright. Now we can uptick Karn on ourself and restart the game. That'd be fun. Draw Chromatic Star. So uptick Karn, target ourself. They're going to cycle a Shark Typhoon. Make a big shark. We're still going to exile Karn here. Are we? Hang on. Yeah, we're going to exile a Karn here. Play Chromatic Star. Crack it for green. Draw Maze Mind Tome. Play Maze Mind Tome. Draw an extra card. Ancient Stirrings. We can get our 4th Karn liberated. Take Relic. Rest to the bottom. Play Relic. Exile both graves. Sylvan Scrying. We're going to go get Sanctum. And then we're going to play Sanctum. Pass the turn. So our opponent can attack this Karn. They have to, or we restart the game. Yep. Karn down to 9. Then they pass. We untap. Draw another tower. Uptick Karn on their hand. I kind of want to see if we can just draw the removal for this shark naturally. We get a Shark Typhoon. Draw another Maze Mind Tome. Play a Maze Mind Tome. Draw again. Another Veil. Well, I think it's time that we give up on our big Karn. Sack Sanctum. Get Ulamog. Play Karn. Keep the new one. And downtick on the shark. Alright, pass the turn. We are immune to Cryptic Bounce. We are also not immune to cycle for another Shark Typhoon. Oh well. At least we didn't worry about keeping our other bigger Karn. Our opponent can attack and kill Karn, which is annoying. Okay. We untap. Go ahead and scry. Ancient Stirrings, I think is actually a fine top deck here. Draw Ancient Stirrings. Cast an Ulamog. Take out their red mana. Opponent taps for white and blue. We resolve Ulamog. We're going to pass to second main. They're going to path Ulamog. Okay. Not much we can do about that. Second main phase, let's Ancient Stirrings. I will get a redundant power plant. That way if they somehow find land destruction, they need multiple. This gives us an extra draw here. Playstar. Crack it for green. Draw Ugin. Alright. Well, if they play like a big planeswalker or something, or they make another shark, we can at least Ugin the whole board away, which is nice. They tap for white, play flagstones, get a Sacred Foundry tapped, and have nothing to do with the white mana. They hit us for 5. We untap, scry with Maze Mind Tome, Urza's Mind to the bottom, draw the 3rd Veil of Summer, play Ugin, X or less, so we're going to -0 Ugin. Opponent's going to Snapcaster Mage. Presumably they can target path here and path their own guy. Okay. We're going to draw an extra card. Not that we're going to respond to this, but we might draw something else we want to play, like another Karn, or an answer to this Snapcaster. Karn Great Creator is good. Okay. Play Karn Great Creator. A Wish. And I think it's time for Walking Ballista. We have so much mana. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Game is over. Alright. Any further adjustments knowing what we know now? I don't think so. Opponent fought really hard for having a hand of 4. Alright, well we can't keep a no-lander. I think we've got to try. I'm going to put back Thragtusk. Tron Piece, Star Stirrings is okay. It's not particularly good. So start Power Plant, Sphere. If we don't hit mine off of Ancient Stirrings, we're going to have a bad time. Okay, opponent immediately starts Cleansing Wildfire out of the gate. Which in a way is better. Alright, play Tower. Crack for green, we want to get this extra draw in here. Get a little more information before we scrying. Get a mine. Pass the turn. Next turn we can play Map with Veil backup if they try and counter the map. We can't Veil of Summer to protect the map activation. Which is something we need to know. Second Cleansing Wildfire. Oh gosh. Well, play mine, play map. We're gonna grab Power Plant, pass the turn. When it brainstorms with a Jace, we draw a Sphere. Play Power Plant. Play Sphere. Sphere for green. Play Star. Star for green. And Stirrings. I'm doing it in this order because even while Maze Mind Tome would technically be better, we can at least Veil of Summer to protect it this way. Okay, second Stirrings. We gotta hit that tower. Still no tower. Taking Ulamog's a bit ambitious. I think we do have to take the map. Pass the turn. But my opponent is a control player that is untapping with Jace the Mind Sculptor, and we are going to have a really tough time with that. Oh, and they Mystic Sanctuary to Cleansing Wildfire to the top, didn't they? So we are never assembling Tron effectively. At this point, we're just tutoring for land drops. While our opponent has an active Planeswalker. We get a Maze Mind Tome, play map. I think I'm going to wait to crack map. We're going to play Maze Mind Tome. Opponent remands, so we're going to Veil. We draw Ulamog. Maze Mind Tome can't be countered. Play Maze Mine Tome. Scry. Great Creator to the bottom. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Brainstorms with Jace. And opponent Cleansing Wildfire again. Get our last forest. We are officially all out of basics. Scry on our upkeep. Relic. Honestly, kind of want to draw a Relic. Crack map. I suspect this gets countered by a Tail's End. Yep. Play Relic. Crack Relic to draw. I want to mitigate their Snapcaster value. At this point, like, they're drawing too many cards for us to do anything, and we're not drawing any lands. They've also blown up 4 of ours, so I really, really doubt we can win. We need, like... Yeah, I don't know what we would need at this point, because our opponent is never, ever going to not have a counterspell up. So I assume this is big Teferi. They're just hard casting a Shark Typhoon. So they have a Veil of Summer. We draw a map. Play map. Crack it, get any random Tron land, starting with Mine. Play Mine. Scry with Tome. Star to the bottom. Play Tome. Scry with Tome. Relic to the bottom. Pass the turn. Alright. Yep. Opponent has reached cantripping sinkhole range. Scry on our upkeep. You know what? Tower on top, we'll draw it. Play Tower. Draw an extra card, gain some life. Play Star. Crack it for green. Draw Power Plant. Okay. Pass the turn. Yeah, if they have another land destruction spell, I'm gonna concede because, like, we can't beat... Even if I had Crucible this game, even if I had Crucible in the deck and didn't have to wish for it out of the wish board, there's no turn in this entire game that it would have resolved. And I want to use this as an example for the people who are telling me, hey, just run Crucible. You know, Crucible will help you get through all of these land destruction spells. At no point during this game would Crucible have resolved. I don't even think it would have resolved if I had a Veil of Summer to protect it. I think trying to play Crucible in a matchup like this is a pipe dream. So, alright, I'm going to restart the client and we'll get into round 2. Alrighty, round 2, here we go. I messed with my decibel slider and I didn't see where it started or where it ended. So if I'm louder or quieter, I apologize, but I don't actually know how to fix it. And I can't just Control Z it either. On the draw, any sphere or star gets us to Tron. We have a draw, we'll have a scry, we'll have a draw, and then a scry and a draw. So we have 4 cards to find Power Plant here. Looks like another control list. Not super happy about that. Well, we drew Expedition Map, so turn 3 Tron it is. Okay, opponent plays a Scalding Tarn and passes. We draw Ancient Stirrings, play Tower, pass the turn. Get a Power Plant. Pass the turn. Opponent gets a Ketria Triome. Ketria Triome tells me this is probably Omnath and not straight control. Okay, well, we drew a Power Plant. We're here to do what we're here to do. And that's cast big bombs. Game over. Wow, alright. Didn't expect that one. So, versus Uropile, they run Mana Leak, Remand, Force of Negation, and Cryptic Command, as well as Aether Gust and stuff out of the sideboard. So, well, Aether Gust doesn't really affect us, but I'm going to drop Thragtusk, Wormcoil, O-Stone, and another Wormcoil. And I'm just going to bring in the 4 Veil of Summer. So, we're going to see if the Relics help any in this matchup. Because Relic is one of the reasons, this is one of the reasons that we're main decking Relic, is to try and prevent our opponent from just cycling Uros and stuff out of the grave. Alright, well we can't keep this hand, so we're going to mulligan. 1 Tron land map is not good enough, I don't think. Down to 4, let's go. Alright, Tron piece, duplicates, and a map. Here's hoping this is good enough. Okay, opponent plays Misty to start. We draw a star, play map. This is the best possible chance for us to resolve map, so that's why we're doing it. Opponent gets a Raugrin Triome. And plays a Renin 6. Okay. Well, we untap. We draw an Ancient Stirrings. I think the play is to star an Ancient Stirrings here. Okay, we get a tower. Rest of the bottom. Pass the turn. And now we know what we have to map for. Opponent likely going to replay Misty. Cracks Misty. They get a Breeding Pool. Untapped. This is probably in a row. It's a Teferi. A bounce map. Okay, this could mean that they have a Force of Negation, that they can cast a Force of Negation on map, which would be really annoying, but there'd be nothing we could do about that. Play map. We'll go ahead and crack map for mine. Pass the turn. And honestly, I'm kind of just hoping my opponent taps out for an Omnath, and then we can Ugin sweep the board. That would be ideal, I think. Opponent plays Misty. Cracks Misty. Gets a Hallowed Fountain. And passes. So they're representing Cryptic mana here. I pick up the land out of the grave again. And then they are forced to discard Misty. Draw Forest, so play mine. Play Star. Crack Star. Sylvan Scrying. So Sylvan Scrying, we are going to get Sanctum of Ugin, because we want a backup plan here. This also might force our opponent to play slightly awkwardly. If they tap out for a threat, like Omnath, we may be able to resolve Ugin. Opponent's playing like they've got Cryptic, though. Us not playing a threat might make them feel safe. I don't think we've revealed Ugin, have we? No, we haven't. We've only revealed lands. So as far as our opponent knows, we don't have a threat. They play Misty, they crack it, they get a basic island. They pick up a land out of grave. Does this bring to light? Big Teferi. Alright. They uptick Teferi. Time to see if we can resolve an Ugin. If they have Remand or Force of Negation, we won't. But we can play through a mana leak here. Can we? Hang on. That's 9, 10 mana. No, we can't play through a mana leak. Now we can. Play an Urza's Power Plant. Play Ugin. Opponent's got a Remand. Alright. Well, it had to be Remand. I expect our opponent is going to alt Renin 6 here, because infinitely retracing things like Remand would be very good. They uptick Teferi, they alt Renin 6, then I guess they uptick Teferi, Hero of Dominaria? Hour of Promise. Okay, well, whatever we play, they can Remand, because they're going to be able to untap 2 lands here. Field of the Dead and Field of Ruin. Okay. Which means playing Sanctum and sacking it for Ugin's not really a thing. Our best bet would be a Veil of Summer. We did have 4 in the deck. Oh, actually, our opponent will be able to field on their own end step, because they have so many land plays this turn. It's ridiculous. And we draw Karn, Great Creator. They fetch with Misty. I mean, honestly, they field anything and it's game over anyway. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go to game 3. There's no reason to make my opponent play all this out. No further adjustments to the deck. Let's just run it back. We'll be on the play for game 3, which is a lot better for us. Alright, well, we can't keep that. This might work. We gotta put back a tower. So, start Power Plant map. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Raugrin Triome. We untap. We draw Ugin. Play tower. Crack for mine. Pass the turn. Okay, we untap, we draw Blast Zone, play Mine, play a Star, play Karn. I'm gonna crack Scalding Tarn for a Breeding Pool untapped. Remands, so we're gonna crack for green. Draw a card, and Veil. Okay. Remand draws our opponent a card. Karn resolves. A Wish. And honestly, kind of want to get Sundering Titan. Because that means they have to have another counterspell next turn. Pass the turn. They can't tap out for anything. Otherwise they lose all of their mana. They could have a burn spell for Karn. Okay, so opponent plays a Flooded Strand. We untap. We draw a Forest. Play a Forest. Crack for green. Draw Karn Liberated. Downtick Karn Great Creator. And I'm gonna get Trinisphere. Play Trinisphere. I should have actually left up the green mana and tapped the tower to play this. To, like, play mind games with my opponent that I might have a, another Veil. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand. Gets a Hollowed Fountain tapped. They untap. Play a Forest. Oh, they play Uro? I'm sorry. Mana privileges revoked. Play a Forest. Play Sundering Titan. Mountain, Island, Plains, Forest. Yeah. Alright. I'll see you guys in round 3. Alright, round 3. Here we go. We are on the draw for round 3 with a mulligan. Alright, yeah, we could do better. I think we're gonna have to try the Ancient Stirrings again. I'm not a huge fan of this hand, but we could draw Sylvan Scrying and things would be fine and dandy. We could draw Mine and things would be fine and dandy. Our opponent mulliganed to 4, which tells me they might be Tron. Are they Tron? City of Brass, Shriekhorn. They are not Tron, they are Dredge. Time to test out if our main deck relics are going to make a difference. Start Power Plant into Chromatic Star, pass the turn. Opponent is going to mill themselves at our end step. They did not. That probably means they're trying really hard to draw a second land. That is indeed exactly what is occurring. Oh, we drew Urza's Mine. Crack Star for green. Get a Sylvan Scrying. Ancient Stirrings. We'll get a Sphere. Rest of the bottom. Play Mine, play Sphere. And if my opponent doesn't draw land and we nuke their only land, this is probably game over. Oh, feels so bad. I'm sorry, opponent. They play a Forgotten Cave tapped. Alright, well, we untap. Draw Star, play Tower. Crack for green. We hit a map. Play Karn. Hit City of Brass. Our opponent needs green mana to really continue playing, because they have to be able to cast Loams. They mill themselves, milling Cathartic Reunion and Creeping Chill, and that's game. Alright, so versus Dredge. I kind of want Contortion, I kind of want Weather the Storm. They don't play Damping Sphere, to my knowledge. Yeah, it's just Abrupt Decay, Nature's Claim, and Ancient Grudge. Which, because we have Relics main deck as our Grave Hate of choice, it's not that important. They do have Thoughtseizes, so maybe we want Veil. I honestly don't think we sideboard here. I think our best sideboard, because of the way of this particular deck configuration, I think the best sideboard we could have would be bringing in Weather the Storm, and it's really not that important. Put back Ulamog. Once again, keeping the Ancient Stirrings hand. Opponent mulligan to 5. Starts off with a Shriekhorn again. We untap. Draw Karn Liberated. Play Power Plant. Pass the turn. I'm not going to play Sphere and leave it open for a Nature's Claim to hit. We're going to play it and activate it next turn. Opponent is running Blood Moon. They mill Shriekhorn Cathartic Reunion. Opponent is not having any luck with their Shriekhorn. They play a Bloodstained Mire. They crack it. Get a Stomping Ground. So it looks like they're casting Loam here. Yep. They loam back their Bloodstained Mire. We untap. Draw Sylvan Scrying. I think it's correct to Ancient Stirrings over Sylvan Scrying here. Yep. The reason I didn't want to leave that star on board for a Nature's Claim or Shenanigans or anything like that. The opponent does dredge into an Ancient Grudge. They do have an Ox of Agonis, or however you pronounce that in their grave. And exactly enough other cards to unearth it. When it gets back some Bloodghasts and passes, we untap, draw Karn Great Creator. So we don't have Grave Hate in the sideboard, which is a problem. Anything we wish for with a small Karn is just going to get immediately eradicated right now. If we play Karn and uptick, he probably doesn't survive. Playing Karn and downticking on the Stomping Ground forces our opponent to fetch another Stomping Ground, but he dies on the backswing to Bloodghasts. I could play Karn and downtick on a Bloodghast. That's not that unreasonable. I could also just play Wormcoil and then, like, our opponent can't attack. I'm going to play Karn and downtick on a Bloodghast. No, I'm going to downtick on a Stomping Ground. So this does allow Karn to die, which is a little bit of a problem. But it takes the heat off of us for a turn. And what we're going to end up doing, by taking this route, our opponent has to dredge Loam, they have to cast Loam. And if we draw a couple more Tron lands in a row, we're going to wish for Sundering Titan. Opponent might get some lucky draws and set up a big board. Yeah, they have to attack down Karn. Plays a Blood Crypt tapped. So we untap, draw Maze Mind Tome, play Karn Great Creator, wish. We're going to get Sundering Titan, play an Urza's Mine, and play a Maze Mind Tome. Pass the turn. I'm really surprised my opponent didn't Ancient Grudge end step, especially because I was auto-yielded. They definitely should have. Opponent dredges a Stinkweed Imp, drains us for 3, we go to 11. Goes to combat, attacks and kills Karn, that's fine. Did they dredge Stinkweed Imp, or did they dredge... they must have dredged a Loam. They play Gemstone Mine, which is a land that does not get Titaned. And it looks like they're casting Ox here. If nothing else, Titan is a huge threat on board. And they're leaving Ancient Grudge behind as well. Okay, opponent dredges a lot. Like a lot. So we do kind of regret not having Grafdigger's Cage, because Grafdigger's Cage would have prevented a lot of this nonsense. Let's go ahead and draw an extra card. Another Wormcoil. Okay, we untap. Upkeep, we draw. Karn Liberated. I guess I should have scried that to the bottom. If I play Sundering Titan, I take out 3 of their lands. They're going to play a land. I'm pretty sure... No, they've dredged 3 times. By Sundering Titan, they can't play anything else, but I think they have They have 1 over lethal if we do that. If I play Karn and get Ensnaring Bridge, we lose because they Ancient Grudge. I needed to hit another Tron land, I think. I think I needed to have double Wormcoil this turn to actually survive, and I would have gotten it had I actually scryed at my upkeep. Alright, game 3. Yep, no adjustments. Okay, we do want to play first. Can't keep that hand. Ooh, very close. I think we got a mulligan that too. I don't know if I can keep just off the strength of Relic. Probably not. Let's go to 4. Alright. Play mine. Pass the turn. Wanna play his Blood Crypt. Thoughtseize. Takes Karn. Sees Tron. Power Plant. Pass the turn. Wanna play City of Brass. So it looks like Cathartic Reunion. Yep. Discarding double Stinkweed. Dredging 3 Stinkweeds. Draw Ulamog. Play O-Stone. Pass the turn. Opponent is gonna really make us sad because I think they can just dredge Loam. Yeah. So they drain us, they can pick up a land, get back their Bloodghasts and their prized Amalgam. No artifact destruction in the grave yet. Okay, opponent Shenanigans to kill Oblivion Stone. Alright, well we just need to draw any land. Any land to play Ugin, and exiling almost all of their threats means that we're probably winning. Because we're not to the point that their threats would have haste or anything like that. I mean, I guess we would be if they conflagrated us for 7, but... Okay. Opponent loams. Plays a land. Gets back 2 Bloodghasts and an Amalgam. They also cycle Forgotten Caves to get a little bit deeper, draining us for 3 off of Creeping Chill. Okay. Any land. Come on, any land. Opponent discards to hand size. Stinkweed Imp, we draw Karn Liberated. Well, Karn provides a dummy target for a moment. They have Loam online. I want to hit a land. I think just... If we uptick Karn, they would have to conflagrate to kill him. If we downtick Karn hitting a land, they would only be able to cast Loam this turn, but he would die to creature damage. I think we actually uptick Karn here, because we're holding Ugin. We want to use Karn basically as a way to fog our opponent for a turn, force them to interact with him via conflagrate, make a really big board of creatures, and then hopefully exile everything to Ugin. Because once we take out most of their threats, like if my opponent just like plays a land, conflagrates, and then Oxes here, well, they hit us for 7. We'd go down to 7. Oh, we're just dead to conflagrate. Never mind. Never mind. I needed to downtick on a creature. I don't know why I could not put that together in my head. Did they exile a Creeping Chill this turn? I think they did. But I should have still taken that into account. That's my bad. They can even loam for extra, just for the rub-ins. Yep. Apparently Moto doesn't want me to see my next card. Alright, well we had a pretty high chance to draw land, and had we done that, we'd been able to activate Ugin, and our opponent would have had to have interacted with Ugin before doing anything else. It's a bit unfortunate. Totally winnable. Also winnable had I actually done math and been like, oh yeah, no, I'm dead if my opponent Creeping Chills if I don't take out a creature. Then they would have to double Creeping Chill, which we still could have died to, because it's all variants in their deck. Alright, round 4. We'll play first. Can't keep that. Maybe. Relic and Maze Mind is a few extra redraws. Gonna try it. So we did lose the Dredge matchup by not having Grafdigger's Cage. I want to mention that. I legitimately thought we would have enough interaction with 2 relics in the main deck, but I was completely wrong. So we're gonna start Urza's Power Plant Relic. Pass the turn. Gonna plays a Temple Garden. Untapped. And an Arbor Elf. So this could be Titan. This could be Devoted Devastation. Could be a number of things. We draw another Power Plant. Play Mine. Play Tome. Scry. Looking for Tower. Sphere to the bottom. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Utopia Sprawl on white. Untapped Temple Garden. Conclave Mentor. So this is the Walking Ballista Heliod Infinite combo deck. So on our upkeep, Scry, Wormcoil to the bottom. We need that tower. Draw Stirrings, crack Relic to draw, map. Play Power Plant, play map. Pass the turn. So if map survives, first off, if we draw tower next turn, we win the game on the spot, because our opponent cannot beat an Ugin, at least in the main deck. Okay. They take away Expedition Map. Come on, tower. Opponent hits us for 2. At least they're not developing the combo right now. Alright, Scry looking for tower. Forest. Forest is tough. I think we have to keep Forest because of Ancient Stirrings. Play Forest. Ancient Stirrings. Another Mine, another Power Plant. So we're going to take Star. Rest of the bottom. Play Star. Crack it for green. Draw a card. Sanctum. Okay. Well, let the record show we dug like 20 cards deep to find Tower and still haven't. Yeah, Skyclave Apparition does make Expedition Map a little bit worse in your awkward hands. In your generic Expedition Map use case, which is turn 1 Expedition Map, it generally does not interact. your opponent would have to be on the play and have a turn 1 mana accelerant like Utopia Sprawl or Arbor Elf for it to actually do anything. It looks like my opponent is playing a Walking Ballista X2. Okay. Ugin is less good now. So we untap. Final Scry. Gain 4. Sylvan Scrying. We are going to leave on top. We draw a Sylvan Scrying. Scrying for tower. Play tower. Play Karn. Wish. We could wish for map. Out from underneath the Skyclave apparition. That's kind of funny. Ensnaring Bridge doesn't stop our opponent from attacking because it's power greater than the number of cards in your hand. They could attack and kill Karn. I think we get Walking Ballista here. Walking Ballista is the only way to stop the current infinite combo, and that's by denying the mana by killing Arbor Elf. If we don't do this, my opponent has exactly enough mana to play Heliod and then combo kill us after attacking to kill Karn. If we do this, and then they play Heliod to set up for the infinite combo next turn, Ugin definitely makes them very sad. Okay, opponent plays a Ranger Captain of Eos. Probably gets a backup Walking Ballista. Arbor Elf. Alright. So they kill Karn, they hit us for 4. They may just sack Ranger Captain on our upkeep to stop us from casting something like Ugin, which would be a completely reasonable play here. Yep. If we draw Ulamog, it's probably game over, though. Okay, play an Urza's Mine. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent untaps. Plays a Giver of Runes. And an Arbor Elf. No attacks. I don't know about no attacks. I think that may have been a misclick. Yeah, we untap. We draw Sylvan Scrying. Play Sanctum of Ugin. Play Ugin. Sack Sanctum. Get Ulamog. Ugin comes down, and we're going to go ahead and -3. Clear out the entire board, except for Ballista. We get a 1/1 Spirit. We're going to go ahead and Sylvan Scrying to get a redundant tower if for some reason they have land destruction. Okay, pass the turn. And the game is over. Alright, gonna bring in Spatial Contortion. We probably want Wilt. Drop Thragtusk, Wormcoil, and Wormcoil. I like that. Yeah, we're gonna need better than turn 4 Karn. Mulligan to 6. Mulligan to 5. Mulligan to 4. Alright. Keep 4. Gonna put back Wilt, Stirrings, and Scrying. Had we had a Sphere or a Star instead of a Relic, I would have kept that and probably the Scrying, but we did not. Okay, start Power Plant Relic. Put a Cracks Windswept Teeth. Gets Temple Garden. Make him exile Windswept Teeth. You never know, there could be some Renegade Rally or shenanigans happening. Opponent plays another Temple Garden tapped. We untap. We draw another Power Plant. Crack Relic and draw. Play a tower. Pass the turn. And man, if we draw Mine next turn, we are good to go. Opponent plays a Forest. Ranger Captain of Eos. They get Walking Ballista. They pass, we untap. They sack Ranger Captain because they think we have Natural Tron. Joke's on them though, we don't. Pass the turn. My opponent could play Walking Ballista on 2 and then with 5 mana kill us with Heliod Activate on turn 5. Okay, they play Heliod this turn. And Utopia Sprawl. Okay, any land is fine, because getting Karn down is what matters most. If we don't, we probably die. Okay? Urza's Tower is fine. Play Karn. Wish with Karn. Ensnaring Bridge is, I don't think, going to do enough, just because of how expensive our hand is. I kind of just want to get Sorceress Spyglass as a redundant way to prevent our opponent from activating Walking Ballista. I'm going to take Spyglass here. Pass the turn. When it plays Prismatic Vista, cracks it. So they would have had enough mana to play Ugin, or play Walking Ballista and activate Walking Ballista this turn. Opponent puts Ballista on 3. We untap. Tron land still wins the game. Alright. Play map using the wrong mana, but I'm not sure it really matters here. Crack map. Get Urza's mine. Play Urza's mine. Play Sorceress Spyglass. Take a look at our opponent's hand. They do have Knight of Autumn, okay? So they can stop Knight of Autumn. We're going to name Heliod here. Heliod Sun-Crowned. And we're going to tick up Karn, because I believe this prevents us from dying to the infinite combo this turn. Because now they can either play... Well, they can play Knight of Autumn, they can hit Sorceress Spyglass. Does that work? Hang on. I think that we're actually still dead. Coco? Oh, Spike Feeder. Alright. Opponent can gain infinite life and kill us. So if my opponent wants to... Are we dead this turn? I'm pretty sure we're dead this turn. They can gain an arbitrary amount of life, but they can't kill us this turn. I'm pretty sure if they started off Knight of Autumn... No, we were fine. We were fine there. Okay, luckily we do have an Ugin, which will prevent us from dying to the infinite combo. We get a Chromatic Sphere. Play Ugin. Opponent can gain an arbitrary amount of life. I'm gonna let them. Because we can probably beat them down through an arbitrary amount of life. I'm going to actually remove the stop on my main here. Because even if I activate Ugin's second main, it's fine. Oh, I guess that doesn't change anything. I have to actually click through this. Well, opponent is allowed to use as much of their clock as they want. And the reason that we do not care about an arbitrary life total is the fact that we run Ulamog. We could exile all of their permanents, and we could exile their entire library, and they would die to drawing out of cards, rather than with damage. I'm probably still going to win with damage, or I'm going to win on time, but I am going to win this. So while what my opponent is doing is technically correct, I disagree with it. Alright, I'm going to mute until this is over so y'all don't have to watch this. Okay, opponent lets it resolve. So we are going to -3 Ugin, and our opponent would have to top deck exactly Heliod. Which is possible, I just think they have less tutors for Heliod than they do for Walking Ballista, but what do I know? Oh, opponent! Come on! Does it really matter? Alright, muting. Opponent finally gets the right idea and puts some counters on Walking Ballista using up the remainder of Spike Feeder. I would laugh super hard if we crack this Chromatic Sphere and draw Wilt. Get a map. Play a map. Get a Sanctum of Ugin. Play Sanctum. Pass the turn. So if opponent... This is the other thing. If my opponent top decks Heliod the Sun-Crowned in this draw or their Horizon Canopy draw, I'm going to be so upset that they wasted that time. Coco, they have 7 hits to find it. Oh, they found it! Wow. Look at that. It's almost like my opponent wasted a bunch of time gaining an arbitrary amount of life that didn't matter. Well, opponent, you've shown a time-intensive combo. You are welcome to play it out. I will even F6. I'll see you guys in the next game. Okay. Yeah, no adjustments. We'll just run it back. If my opponent is willing to waste their time gaining a bunch of life that doesn't matter, then they better be willing to waste their time actually comboing to win. And I'm a little bit salty about it. Guess we're going to 4. The only hand that was remotely keepable was the first one, and there's no actual reason for us to keep that. We would always mulligan. Realistically, a 3-card hand is not going to win. So I'm going to put back Ugin, I'm going to put back Map, and I'm going to put back Sphere. We're doing this the very hard way. Ancient Stirrings, take tower. Everything else to the bottom, pass the turn. Opponent starts Arbor Elf. We draw Sylvan Scrying, play a tower, play Maze Mind Tome. We ought to be able to top deck another Tron piece this way. Relic of Progenitus to the bottom. Pass the turn. My gosh, after all of those ability activations, my game is lagging. Alright, and we're back. I also did not receive notifications for my opponent messaging me. No idea why. Usually it pops up over here on my other monitor. I did not get it when they messaged me this time. Opponent did ask me to scoop to the combo. And I probably would have because they were being nice. But I did not actually see their message. Okay, opponent plays a Damping Sphere. So however we win this, we're going to win it the hard way. Did I bring in Wilt? I think I brought in Wilt. Okay. Scry on or upkeep. Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger to the bottom. Draw a map. Okay. Scrying. I guess we could Blast Zone. Play Blast Zone, play map. Oh, never mind, I can't play map. Because I cast a spell this turn. Silly Tron player. I only count in variants of 1, 2, and 7. And rarely 3. Alright, opponent shocks for a Temple Garden. They cast a Collected Company, getting Heliod, because of course they do. And a Spike Feeder to gain infinite life. Alright, untap, scry. Ancient Stirrings to the bottom. We get a Sylvan Scrying. Play a Forest. Play a map. Pass the turn. Don't do this. Do not waste time gaining life. Okay, one activation's fine. Like, I don't mind. It's when you spend 20 minutes gaining life that doesn't matter, because you're either going to kill me long before it's relevant, or I will put you into a position where you can't... Alright. They just have the combo. Like, there's nothing we can do about this, right? I kill Arbor Elf in response, they just take a counter off Spike Feeder, put it on Ballista, give Ballista lifelink. What a massive waste of time, that. Alright, round 5. I'm a little salty about that. If you play Modern, gaining an arbitrary amount of life is not winning. So don't do it. I don't care if you're like, well, in paper I can loop it 1 billion times and go to 4 billion life. You're still not winning the game. You might put yourself in a position where you can't possibly lose. Unless you have more cards in deck than your opponent, and your opponent can't mill you or can't find a way to recycle cards. But versus a deck like Tron, or versus most control decks, because, like, if you want to prove that a loop is possible, a control deck could control you out and then just keep putting Teferi back on top of its library infinitely, show that that loop is uninterruptible, and beat you in paper. Gaining infinite life does not win the game. It makes me angry when people think that it is. Alright, round 5. Nope. And I will say that everything that's happening this league, including my saltiness, in reality, I kind of deserve, because the last Tron leagues that we played, like the last 5 Tron leagues we've played, we have gotten absurdly lucky. So this is just the balance swinging the other way. This is the first bad Tron league. This is the first not 3-0, 3x Tron league minimum that we have run into in at least 5 Tron leagues. So I really should not be getting salty. I'm sorry, everybody. We get a Chromatic Star, play Star. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait to crack it. The chance that we draw a Sylvan Scrying is very non-zero here. But it plays a Jace, Vryn's Prodigy, and attacks us for 1. Take 1, go to 19, we untap. We draw a 3rd Karn Liberated. Alright, crack for green. Maze Mind Tome. Maze Mind Tome's kind of nice. Make our opponent exile the last card in their grave. Scry with Maze Mind Tome. Urza's Mind to the bottom. We gotta find that power plant. Opponent pitches a Dakmor Salvage. Plays Polluted Delta. Cracks Polluted Delta. Gets a Hallowed Fountain untapped. Vesper Lark. For no value. Hits us for 1. That's fine. Untap. Scry. Worm Coil to the bottom. There it is. There it is. Play Karn. Down tick on Vesper Lark. Exile a card from their grave. And now we have Karns on parade. This is what I'm talking about. This is what we're here for. Oh no. Body double combo. Alright, well if I lose to body double combo / Ashen Rider Reanimator, at least we're dying in a cool way that isn't our opponent gaining infinite life. Okay. Opponent gets to exile 2 of our permanents because we don't have Relic up to crack, which sucks. Opponent sacks Ashen Rider at the end step, exiling probably a tower. Yup. Okay. Untap. Scry. Karn Great Creator to the bottom. Tower? Aw. That would have been legendary. Alright, make our opponent exile a card. Exile a Flooded Strand, pass the turn. At least now we have Relic activation to kind of protect us from a reanimation spell. Opponent loots with Jace. Discards Dakmor Salvage. Dredges Dakmor Salvage. Jin Gitaxis? Oh, I love it. I love Jin Gitaxis. Opponent gets in with Stitcher Supplier for 1. We go down to 16. Evoking a Vesper Lark. Okay, exile the grave. We get a Sylvan Scrying. Okay, Vesper Lark sacks itself. Opponent passes. We untap. Maze Mind Tome. Scry. Gain life. Scry finds us Maze Mind Tome. We're going to put it to the bottom. We draw it anyway. Woo! Alright, Tower. Play Tower. Play Maze Mind Tome. Draw an extra card. Play Star. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks Polluted Delta. Thins their deck. They get a Watery Grave tapped. Opponent untaps. Loots with Jace. Discards Dakmor Salvage. Dredges Dakmor Salvage, putting Body Double and Glasspool Mimic into the grave. They play a Hedron Crab. They play a Dakmor Salvage, milling themselves. Hitting a Mindrake. A deck finally playing Mindrake. I've been looking for one of them. Opponent hits us for 1. We untap. Scry on our upkeep. O-Stone to the bottom. We draw an Ancient Stirrings. Cast an Ancient Stirrings. Get a Sanctum of Ugin. Rest of the bottom. Play Sanctum of Ugin. Sack Star to draw. Ancient Stirrings. Get an additional tower. Should have probably taken the Ugin there. Play Karn. Sack Sanctum. Get Ulamog. Karn resolves. And we're going to nuke this Jace just to stop our opponent from drawing extra cards. It might be too late. Our opponent could very well have a really good reanimation turn. I should have just taken that Ugin. I was like, oh yay, extra tower. This will go perfect with my plan currently. I should have adapted my plan, but it is actually way past my bedtime. I'm recording this after I maxed out my deadlift at 545 pounds. I'm pretty excited about that. Opponent plays a Body Double as a Glasspool Mimic, hitting Stitcher's Supplier. Interesting. They mill a Footsteps of the Goryo. Hit Karn for 1, forcing us to uptick Karn this turn. We untap and draw Worm Coil. Scry. Ugin on top. Play Tower. Uptick Karn. Hit our opponent. Another Jace. Play Ulamog. Take out white mana. And this Watery Grave. Pass the turn. Now, if our opponent was to reanimate something like Ashen Rider, they would have to... Oh, they did hit on Burial Rites. But just hitting an Ashen Rider would not do it. Because we're top decking an Ugin. Which Ugin cannot actually answer Ashen Rider. But Karn can. Opponent exiles Karn. Oh, valiant effort. But Ulamog is going to attack and exile the rest of their library. Alright, best not show them Ugin. Alright. Like I said, if I end up losing to this deck, I'm totally okay with that. At least I'm losing to a deck that's cool. And off-meta. Running Footsteps of the Goryo. We don't have any additional Grave Hate. We might want Spatial Contortion for the Crab or Jace. We may also want Veil of Summer. Because Veil of Summer can actually protect us from Ashen Rider enters and leaves the battlefield. I'm going to drop O-Stone, Thragtusk, Worm Coil, and Worm Coil. We're going to try it like this. I don't think my opponent has a way to reanimate any of our creatures, but I don't know if I really want to take chances. Watch my opponent be playing like a Actually, I don't think there are any in Modern. I was gonna say, watch my opponent be playing a each player reanimates a creature spell of some kind. I don't think that exists in Modern, though. I think the only one I know of is Exhume, and Exhume is not Modern legal. Oh no, but Modern Horizons 2 is coming soon, so I wouldn't put it past Wizards. Alright, well this is a turn 3 Karn Liberated, so we are going to keep. Okay. Opponent gets to start. They play a Marsh Flats. They crack Marsh Flats. Oh no, opponent. They mulligan to 3. Alright, they play Crab. We'll play Sphere. Pass the turn. I kind of hope that they, like, have a way to stay in this game long enough to make it an actual, like, game that we can play. I don't want this league to just end on this, especially not against a deck that's, like, cool. Alright, opponent mills. They don't hit any Unburial Rights, though. And they also don't hit any, like, big reanimation targets. We untap, we draw Spatial Contortion. Honestly, I think we kill the Crab. Do we? Nah, we gotta go for the Tron, I guess. Sylvan Scrying, get Power Plant. Pass the turn. Okay, they do have another land. They still don't mill over a... Opponent scoops it up. I'm sorry, opponent. Your deck was awesome. At least you got to do your combos in game 1. Alright, we end up going 2 and 3 and winning our entry back. So, what does Kano feel about the changes he made? The change that I made was bad. We didn't really miss the second Oblivion Stone, as we never really had the relic slot when we wanted an Oblivion Stone. At least to my knowledge. I'm kind of tired right now, so I'm not sure. Dropping Cage out of the sideboard really sucked. Like, I'm going to put this in right now because I don't want to forget about it later. So, dropping Cage really wasn't an option. It was worth testing, because if we didn't need it in the Wishboard, if just the relics in the main deck were enough, that would help free up slots for other things, but we straight lost against Dredge because of it. There's a couple of other times we may have wanted to wish for it, and I think I'm just going to have to make do with 3 Veils of Summer right now. I don't know what I want to do with this relic slot here. I don't know if I want to keep it relic or if I want to swap it up for something else. I could just put it back as O-Stone and play it as my previous list was. Let me know what you guys think. I'm sorry if this league was grindier or harder to watch. I feel like I wasn't on top of my game 100%, but I also, because I know I made a few suboptimal plays at least. And I was also a little bit grumpy this league, mainly because of the hard matchups right away. Kind of put me a little bit on tilt. And of course the infinite life gain, which I really despise because it doesn't do anything. Anyway, that's enough of me ranting about it. If you guys want to see more Mono Green Tron, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. You can also follow me on Twitch, same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Eastern Standard Time. It's United States, East Coast. Yeah, overall, I don't think cutting Cage from the sideboard's a good idea. I think it was worth investigating, and I'm glad that I did, and I'm glad that I found out what I found out, because I will not be taking it out of the sideboard again. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, and know that you're all wonderful human beings, and I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!